State University Kefi Open Distance E-Learning Center. The course code is PAD215, which is Local Government Administration, Study Section 11. This has to do with the last sections of the study. This section deals with the sources of local government revenue. I, the presenter, am Dr. Isa Ibrahim Salisu. Study Section 11 deals with sources of local government revenue. Sources of the local government revenue. The learning outcomes of these study sections. It is expected at the end of these study sections, the student should be able to differentiate different sources of government revenue. That is at the local government level. Different sources of local government revenue. Number two, the problems of revenue generation at the local government level. And number three, it highlights areas where local government will make by law, that is local government law, to generate revenue. Local government is responsible of making law, and that law, responsibility of local government to make law is what we refer as by law. The law made by local government is referred as by law in terms of its revenue generations. The introduction part of it. Having examined the classification of local government in study section 10, where we classify local government into different types of principles and ideas. In this section, you shall in these sections focus on a local government revenue generates funds for to augment the allocation given. There are different media where local government sources of revenue are generated. According to Ogbonna 1996, for local government to serve as a powerful instrument for rapid transformation and development at the grassroots level, it should possess a solid financial base. It must define its sources of finances. It must come up with a way where it will generate finance funding that will champion the course of action, that is to take developmental purposes. Finance is the life wire of an organization. It is lubricating element which greases and makes the administrative machine of an organization to move. It therefore follows that for the local government to discharge its statutory functions effectively, it discharge adequately funded. It must be funded adequately. Generally, sources of revenue allocated to local government vary from country to country and from time to time. Nigeria local government system has so many sources of revenue. These include statutory allocations, rates, grants, fees, charges, fines, earnings and profits, loans and miscellaneous sources, etc., etc. These sources we want to examine in this unit. Sources of local government revenue. 1. Grants from federal or state government. Grants are money made available to local government to help them carry out their programs. This could be block or general grants, matching grants, or special grants. A block of grants is based on populations. The matching grant is to aid local government on large projects or provision of infrastructure, while a special grant made to assist local government providing some services of national importance. Example, education and healthcare center. Most of our local government in Nigeria relied on grants from federal governments. Federal governments allocated grants to states and local governments in order to champion the course of actions and imbibe into infrastructure needs of the local populace, providing developmental purposes in order to take care of some special amenities such as education, health facility, and etc. etc. Then we have the second one, which is statutory allocation. From the word statutory, it is a constitutional matter. Federal governments operate a federal system of government. And if you operate a federal system, the issue of federalism, it's a constitutional matter. It is a constitution that defines how federal government should devolve its power from states downwards to local government and empower them with so much power on how to champion the course of action within their own jurisdiction. So within that, since it is a constitutional mandate given by local government, then the issue of statutory allocations of local government, it is referred. This is what you call it. It is also a constitutional mandate. Local government has a constitutional duty where federal government must make allocation available to local government in order to take care of its responsibilities. And that's why in Nigeria, you find out that 23, 22, 23, 23 of every month, you find out that federal allocation must be distributed to state and local government. Sometimes, some instances, you find out that trillion before between the period of 2018-19, about 600 billion will be distributed to state and local government as well as statutory allocation to local government. But today, you find out that as a result of subsidy removal, you find out that the allocation from federal government rises not even in billion but rather in trillions, where you have federal government distributing trillions of naira downward to state and local government within the federation. The 774 local government was granted this allocation to those local government, while the state of Nigeria was given this allocation. This is what is called fiscal federalism. It is all about what? It's all about allocating resources to federal and state to local government. Consequently, local government receive a percentage of the federally generated revenue annually. This percentage changes with time according to act and decrease. The third part of it, the number three, is loans from banks. Local government can obtain loans from financial institutions or private banks to enable them to finance development projects such as water supply, rural electricity projects, construction of roads, and provision of health facility. This is another source of what do you call it, local government revenue. Loans from banks, especially private banks. Local government grants collected loan from all those in order to foster developmental projects. Then the number four is rate. Rate refers to the levy collected by local government authority from the service that council provide. The rates are collected on market stores, motor parks, supermarket, and shops. Some rates are also collected from bicycles and motorcycles, licensed television, radio sets and sets, etc. and etc. All those in the rates are in form of tax system that local government tax some all those areas: markets rates, motor park rates, supermarket rates, shop, even motorcycle. Local government grants those rates in order to form some basis of revenue generated within the local atmosphere. Then number five is special levies. This refers to levies imposed on the resident of local government as a means of generating revenue. Levy is also another way where local government generates its own revenue through levies. Then number six, income from commercial ventures. One of the sources of revenue of local government is income from their commercial activities. Some local government maintain transport services, farm, holiday resorts, consultancy services, guest house, etc., etc. All those are another investment which was invested by local government system and it serves as a sources of government revenue. Some local government will just go into transportation service sector and they invest into transportation, and at the end of the day you find out that they generate a lot of money through that transportation services. Some farm, through farm they invested into farm, consultancy services, and guest house, even hotel. Through that hotel it serves as what? It serves as another way where local government generates revenue. So what we are saying here is local government engage into commercial ventures, and the essence of engaging into commercial ventures, they will have different businesses, and with these businesses separated all over, it will serve as sources of local government revenue through those their businesses. Then the second part of it, we have income from investment. Local government drive revenue by investing their money in profit yielding economic ventures such as buying of shares, entering projects that could provide good revenue in return. It is another sources of good source of local government revenue. Then number eight, personal income tax, PIT. This is personal income tax system. Local government council collect income tax from non-salary earners, trim some percentage of what is called collected and pays the balance to the state government. Salary earners are excluded from payment of personal income tax as a result of pay as you earn, that is payee system, in which their taxes are deducted as sources by their employees and paid directly to the government account. Every tax collected as an income salary earner, there is what you call pay as you earn. The higher you earn, then the percentage income will be deducted, and this deduction will go directly into local government account. Court fines. Number nine is court fines. Court fines are imposed on individuals that violate law, government by law, sanitary regulations, and ban on street trading and housing. All those are the another sources of government revenue through fines. Court fines. That is local government fines. Local government generate their revenue through fines. Then we have property or Tenement rate. Property, a tenement rate is imposed on the owners of private and commercial houses. It is based on the values of the building and properties. Local government will now impose tax on those properties and is expected to be paid to the account of local government. This is also a way of generating revenue through the local government atmosphere. Then we are done with revenue. What do you call it? Sources of revenue. Now we are looking at we're going to look at areas where local government could make bylaws to generate revenue. Bylaw, we all know, is a law made by local government. But in terms of the local governments make laws as a body responsible for making law, they make law in order to generate their revenue. They make law within the local government. In the essence, it's just to exceed it, to have some other sources of government revenue. We have discussed that a local government could enact bylaw or adopt the one already in existence to get revenue for the council. Listed below are some areas where local government will make bylaws to generate revenue. One, town towing of vehicles, cars, lorries, tankers, such as cars, lorries, tankers, as fines for obstructing the road and wrong parking, just like what is happening in Lagos. Whenever you park anyhow, they find out that the state will come and find that car or that vehicle, and that is a very good source of government revenue. But what we are saying here is local government must make a law in respect to these areas so that they can be able to generate revenue through those process. Number two, we have registration of emblem for motor vehicle, registration permit, haulage permit, delivery permit for pickup vans. All those are registrations. But if truly local government want to cite it as one of the sources of local government revenue, they have to come up with a bylaw in order to come up with a law that will deals with that. So we have the number three, which is hackney permit for truck, tankers, and tippers. It's not that anyhow. It is another area that local government will make law. That is permit. Truck and tanker tippers, they cannot move anyhow they want. But in this regard, local government should regulate that sector by coming up with law in order to take care of those areas. Trucks, tankers, and tippers cannot just move freely. If truly those heavy equipment moving truly, local government can come up with a law, by law, in order to address this. I could remember when I was in Lagos, all those heavy tankers and whatever, they have a law that they can only get into Lagos within speculated period of time, like 10 in the midnight. Any tanker or any heavy truck caught within this domain, within the normal hours work, will be fined a heavy money, heavy fine that will serve as a source of revenue, government revenue through those process. And the fourth one is license for radio, television sets. Granting license to radio, television, and co. It's also a responsibility of local government to come up with a bylaw in order to generate revenue in this regard. Then we have the number five, which has to do with licenses for bicycles. Remember, even bicycles, canoes, wheelbarrows, liquor of all types, supermarket, house, palm wine, typing, selling, and others. So you see all those areas. If truly local government want to generate revenue, even bicycle you see that move anyhow must have a license for bicycle. Canoes, within wheelbarrow, there must be a license. A amount of money should be paid, maybe monthly, on that wheelbarrow, and that will serve a very sources of government revenue. And if truly those area government will come up with a bylaw in this regard, you find out that only the internal generated revenue we have can only sustain the local government system without even the federal allocation or without even statutory allocation that came into the account of local government. Only internal generated revenue through these bylaws, it will serve as a heavy revenue that will come into the account of local government and will take care of so many developmental projects and responsibility within the local government. Now we are going to look at just briefly problems of local government generation in local government, problems of revenue generation in some local government. One, we have poor transportation facility, poor transportation facilities, revenue driving and collection need movement from one place to another. When revenue officers are not provided with means of movement, their work is greatly impaired. Indiscipline, number two is indiscipline and dishonesty. That's another very serious issue in the Nigerian system. Some local government officials do not take their duty seriously enough. They prefer to line their pocket instead of rendering correct financial return to their employees. In many places, the public regard some local government staff as living embodiment of bribery and corruption. That one is a general issue, the issue of corruption, indiscipline, and dishonesty in terms of revenue generation. That's why if you go to other advanced countries, you find out that they engage the service of different companies tax company that will serve as what, that will serve as an intermediary in terms of collection. The only thing is they make payment annually on so area and so aspect. Then, in order to tackle with indiscipline and dishonesty, bribery, and corruption in that regard. Then, number three is lack of thick enforcement apparatus. To sustain the revenue effort of local government, it is necessary to give teeth to the council by law. This leads to the necessity for the establishment of revenue courts, magistrate courts, and so on and so forth in order to deal with such aspect. Then we have lack of the fourth one, number four, is lack of encouragement. Local government could set revenue target for their revenue officer. Hardworking and honest officer will be rewarded adequately as an incentive to order. The reward could be in the form of accelerated promotion and cash bonus gifts. Number five, this has to do with further areas of lack of supervision. There should be strict supervision of revenue officers. Then we have updating the bylaws. Bylaws should be updated time to time to make for easy applications. Then we have illiteracy. Number seven, some revenue collectors have a very low educational background. When illiteracy was a illiterate person on rate drives meets equally illiterate person, argument and bad languages are likely to ensure leading to disorder without actually achieving the real purpose of the drive. Then we have embezzlement. Embezzlement, some revenue collected intent on dishonesty, deliberately defy the financial memorandum and keep their collection longer than necessary, thereby posing themselves or to malversation. Summary of studies, this last study section 11. In this study section 11, you have learned that, there are different sources through which local government gets revenue. Number one, there are different sources through which local government get their revenue. Number two, this includes statutory allocation, rates, grant, fees, charges, fines, earning, and profit, loan, and miscellaneous sources. Number three, in spite of the fact that local government possess large areas of activities or internal generated revenue, they continue to cry about poor finances, except in very few and exceptional cases. The revenue expectation under each head in the local government estimated are never achieved. The collection in some heads are too ridiculous and shameful to merit a mention. Thank you very much. On this note, I'm done.